opinions expressed on the following program are those of the show hosts, not WPSL or Port St. Lucie broadcasters. Any reproduction or reuse of the program without the written consent of WPSL is strictly prohibited. But you're encouraged to like and share them on Facebook because it's time for Joanne's World of Nutrition, brought to you by Nutrition World in the historic Arcade Building on US 1 in Fort Pierce between Orange Avenue and Avenue A, directly across the street from the Fort Pierce City Hall. This show is a special edition of Joanne's World of Nutrition because it's Dr. Ravi Week. So here's your host, the one and only Joanne Seeger.
Hey everybody, happy Thursday. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Well, as always, I am thrilled to have Dr. Ravi by my side this week. What a topic. I have to tell you, I love how you stay up to date on what this week is or what month. And, when you said brain health, I was like, okay, all right, brain health, no big deal. But man, there's some cutting edge new research now. And Matt and I were like, whoa, it's things that I had some common sense understanding of, but to see that the science and my crazy hippie mind came together and it actually makes total sense. It was wonderful. So I'm so glad you picked this topic.
Yeah, I'm excited.
And look at you with all your efficient notes. So good morning.
Good morning.
So I haven't been, Jen's been on vacation, so I've missed my appointments. Do you have anything going on at the practice? Any lectures coming up that you want to talk about?
We actually just had one last week, Tuesday.
Okay. What was that one on?
Men versus females' health.
Oh, bummer. I would have loved that one.
So men and women have different health complications when it comes to health and maintaining health.
Okay, makes sense.
Getting their body functioning better. So, for example, men typically have more heart issues, whereas females, they're more, don't mean to be judgmental or biased here.
I'm ready. I'm holding on. Go ahead.
Moody because of hormonal issues.
All right.
So we went over a lot
that
of these.
is true. I can just tell you. It's true. Okay,
yes.
But we have heart issues, too.
You guys do, yes.
You guys keep breaking our hearts.
Oh, no.
Oh, wait. Whole nother show. Yes. Oh, man. Well, okay. So then we don't have to worry about anything coming up too soon. When I saw these nice, cute PowerPoints, I thought something was coming up.
No, we actually did a workshop on brain fitness in January.
Oh, okay. Yes. Very cool.
Look out for one in probably January.
Yeah, you know what? And here we are talking about Dr. Ravi. He's so good at really educating not only his patients, but the community. He has workshops and seminars all the time. So if you can't even get into him to get into a regular situation of chiropractic care, check him out for his wealth of information about pretty much every topic. Just standing in their office alone, if you just look at the walls, you can learn so much. You guys are always switching up the information on your documentaries and your wall education.
Yeah, we always have to be learning about something, because when we're not learning, we're not growing.
Definitely. And in case we have any new listeners, before we do our breathing exercise, you want to just quickly give everyone who you are and why you're here with me on the show?
Of course.
All
so
right.
I am Dr. Ravi with Tradition Family Chiropractic, and we're located in Tradition, Port St. Lucie, in the Target Plaza. We've been there for 4 years now and providing pristine chiropractic care and other 4 essentials that we teach our patients to the community, mainly to get everyone's health better than where we're currently at.
And you definitely do that. You do
Yes.
achieve that. I love it. And he has a phenomenal personality, if you can hear it in his voice. Really great guy. So everyone check out Dr. Ravi. And we have to have our breathing exercise. I definitely feel that great surge of energy where I want to focus it to the best cause of the day, which is the radio show. So all newbies, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for spending some time with us this morning. This is a very quick exercise that we hope you'll practice all day long to clear the mind, focus the energy, lower the blood pressure. So we're going to exhale out the toxicity, the drama that might be processing through the mind right now. And we're going to breathe in for 5, hold for 5, and exhale for 5 through the nose and cliff. Pro counter. You ready?
I am
All
ready.
right,
Got to
so
let it all out. Here
Let's
we go.
exhale. Shoo.
All right, now let's begin the inhale through the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5. Slowly release. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5. Release. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One more time. All the way in. 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5. And release. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Awesome. Now, there is probably so much that we need to cover in this show.
There
and
is.
I know I'm bursting. I feel like
I can feel it in you.
I know. It's like, well, how much better than the topic of the brain? Because I remember, Dr. Ravi, the moment I was in my store, and so I've owned Nutrition World for about 15 years now, almost 16, and I have moved my location. I was going through a transition in my life, and it's when I really noticed that no matter what I was taking, if my mind wasn't along for the ride, it wasn't working out. And I had to really take a hard look in the mirror that if I knew this to be true, that if my diet didn't change, my supplements didn't change, but yet health was changing, that I had to tell this to customers. And this was really difficult to me because not only I couldn't just hand them a bottle anymore and be like, well, if you spend $24.95 a month, yeah, you'll be all set for the rest of your life. No, I had to tell them, listen, if you're worried all day long, if you're stressed out all day long, if you're not forgiving loved ones, you could take all these expensive supplements and honestly, they're not going to do anything.
Yeah.
It was hard for me to say this to people. So now I've been preaching it for, about a good 6 years. And it gets easier and easier with each customer, but I'm usually, most of the time, thanked for that.
Yes.
Because do I love to sell bottles to help pay my bills? Of course. But the bottom line in this show, I know with Dr. Ravi, because him and I think so much alike, we're going to get across that it's not about buying a bottle from me, or it's not about just one adjustment from Dr. Ravi. It's about everything. So, so if again, you're just listening to us now, we both are very holistic thinkers, mind, body, soul, spirit. We really believe in everything working together as one. So this show, we're going to get as much information in as we can. But remember, you have the ability to research and read and learn and never think that, oh, this is too overwhelming. Oh, they're talking too fast. The information is there. When you're ready to receive it, it will be there for you. So just take in what you can. And we hope you enjoy the show. And so we're going to split up the categories. And Dr. Ravi, did you want to start with some of the basics of like what the brain is? Because you're better at that stuff than I am. So
Yeah. So I want to go over the thing here. And a question I want to ask everyone is, no one ever wants to start forgetting things. No one ever wants to, start
the fear of that.
Yeah,
yes. It's crippling.
Forgetting names or forgetting places where they were at or their grandkids, who they are and what they look like. No one ever wants to forget those things, right?
Right.
And so it's, once again, the choices that we make today that tell us where we are in the next 15, 20 years. And so I'm sure, Joanne, you never have a client come into your place and say they can't wait till they end up in a assisted living facility.
Oh,
or,
yeah, right?
And
I can't wait till I forget who I am.
Right?
Woo, yeah.
So these things we need to be constantly aware of what we're doing to improve the function of our brain, which is where a lot of the processing emotional sides come from within ourselves and healing. And so when we're not functioning well, we have to look at the brain for a lot of the problems. And, one big thing, and I'm going to basically give the umbrella term, dementia, which is basically where you forget things. It's an overall category of basically forgetting, not your brain's not functioning well. And there's different, this is just a symptom of a certain type of disease, whether it's Alzheimer's disease or a deficiency within vitamins, or also with a disease or like cardiac issues, so strokes, cardiac issues, so high blood pressure, low blood pressure, even heart attacks can cause you to forget things.
Definitely.
Yes, so
And I
that's
think
what
too, a lot of people throw that word out, dementia, like it kind of almost is like a joke term now because it's so common. Like, oh yeah, just got dementia, I can't remember this or but it's not so much of a joke when it's all of a sudden real in
And
your
it hits
life.
someone
And
close to you.
can't remember what a toothbrush is.
Yeah.
Again, this show is about the possibilities and the good
and
stuff.
how to overcome these things.
Exactly.
Right? So I know a lot of patients that have just come in recently of brain fog, right? And
Yeah.
so, one big thing I want to talk about is getting more oxygen into the brain, right? So
Perfect.
specifically with the exercise that we just did,
Yeah.
with
Breathing.
the busy,
Who would think?
with the busy lifestyle that we all live, getting kids to school, getting to appointments on time, and helping out others, it can become stressful and overwhelming. And this can start deteriorating and killing cells of our brain, leading to brain fog, a lack of clarity. And so just that simple exercise that we did, I encourage everyone to do these on a daily basis.
Definitely.
Specifically
And
in the morning.
Right. And remember, everyone, it's just making a new habit. So 21 days to make a new habit and 63 days to make that habit, take root in your life where you're seeing the change. They say a lot of us within 3 to 4 days give up on something. It's like this joke I always see on Facebook where the girl eats one salad and looks in the mirror and thinks her body should change from the one salad.
No.
And, it is funny because sometimes I feel like that. If I have a really good day where I went to the gym and I ate perfectly, I expect the next day where my body is like 3 sizes less and I'm like, oh yeah. But it doesn't really work that way.
Consistency is the key to everything.
It is. So it's just getting past that 3 to 4 days where most of us tend to give up because we're hoping that that pill we just bought or that adjustment we just got, it's going to be like, woo, it's a miracle. No, it's consistency, making that new habit, and then going to 63 days, because in neuroscience, they say that's really the magic number of making a substantial change in your body.
Yeah, and to go along with this, with change, what I recommend, and it was actually a study by Carnegie Mellon Institute.
Yeah, I think I've heard of it.
I hope you have. They say when you write things down and you cross it off, you're more likely to have that adaptation to your new habit.
Oh my God,
Yes.
Dr. Ravi, I love that. I've been doing that since I was a little girl, and I used to get made fun of. I would write those lists like 6:30 waking up, 6:45, blah, 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 and I would love crossing it off. So,
Yes.
hey, all
yeah,
right,
and
I
you
was
know what
doing
that does? It
something.
actually increases endorphins, so good endorphins.
Okay.
So it makes you feel good. It makes
All
you
right.
feel
Do
productive.
you hear that, Matt? I can write on my paper still and use pen and paper. Ha ha. It's a good thing.
Yes, I don't think technology will replace that.
Never,
Yes.
never. I'm sticking to this, okay.
Yes. So, this is great about creating habits and change, is writing it down and crossing it off. You're more likely to sustain and hold on to these habits that you're doing.
Love that. Beautiful. Well, I'm going to look for my glasses now so you can keep talking, okay?
Yeah. Also, with getting more oxygen to the brain, so specifically the exercise that we did at the beginning, I recommend doing positive self-talk, and everyone knows this as affirmations. So telling yourself good things about yourself and others help lighten up the mood and actually helps with neuroplasticity, which is a term that we use in the medical field that helps with growth, nerve growth. And so when we're stressed or have anxiety due to, everyday's busy lifestyle, our cells once again start to die. Our cell-to-cell communication don't communicate effectively. And so when you start self-talk, you start learning things, you're reading for your own health information, you're growing these cells, right? And so when you're telling yourself positive stuff once again, you're growing these cells. So it's going to help with communication.
That's awesome. And one thing, like I have in my desk at work, in my bathroom, like Matt and I just did this together the other day, and it felt so special, is to take your, now we can have a million different affirmations. It's all about our personal affirmations. But, think big with these affirmations. Like, don't isolate it to, okay, I will drink 8 glasses of water today. Think in a bigger picture, that we all have the ability to impact the world, and so when you're writing these affirmations, think big and think strong and boldly, because you start telling yourself this and you can overcome. I mean, I always say that it's amazing when science proves these things, but I think innately we feel it. We feel like when all of a sudden we make a right choice or we do a good act, we feel invincible, we feel strong, we feel healthy. So just imagine if you're doing these things repetitively over and over and over again, how that could change you on a physical plane. It's just mind-blowing. And I bet you I'm going to catch you off guard here about my first thing to buy for brain health. You're not going to expect this one. Skin brushing. Skin brushing,
okay.
Right? See,
And
I
you
got
caught
you
me
on
off
this
guard
one.
there.
All right,
Yes.
so I've been skin brushing for about 30 years. And so as I was researching the brain, like you just saying, like circulation, and I know you're going to cover toxicity later, which is critical. So the skin brushing is such an inexpensive way for all of us. So say you don't want to spend money on supplements or your budget is restricted. A skin brush is $10 to $15. You buy the one that you don't get wet. And there is science behind this, people, that when you stroke the brush on your skin lightly, just lightly, you are increasing circulation, you're removing toxins, you're stimulating your lymphatic system, and you feel amazing. And the reason I want to bring this one up first is because there should be no obstacle to this. So whether you're wheelchair bound or, you're super busy with, 10 kids and multitasking craziness, you can fit in 30 seconds for a skin brush. You just wake up in the morning, do 30 seconds with your favorite song, few affirmations, and what a awesome way to start the day. Economical, user-friendly. And there is not, of course it exfoliates the skin, but when you increase your blood circulation, that's kind of giving your brain a little extra help to do what it's meant to do. But like you mentioned, heart disease, all these things really affect that blood circulation to the brain. So a skin brush can give a little assistance.
Nice. And
You
so
like
where
that?
do you skin brush? On
Well,
your arms?
So there are
abdomen?
YouTube videos on it, but
Okay.
the basic rule I tell people, and I give people sheets if they buy the skin brush at the store with directions if they don't want to go to the internet. So the idea is you're always brushing towards the heart. So if you start at the toes, and there's no area other than right around the eyes that you don't skin brush. So you go from the toes all the way up the trunk of the body towards the heart. You hold your arms out, stretched, and then you brush from the fingernails all the way up towards the heart. So the neck and the chin will be down towards the heart. And again, you don't want to make it where it hurts. You just light strokes to just exfoliate, circulation, and for my females out there, there are actual studies about helping against cellulite, the skin brushing. And I think that's about toxin removal and circulation. It's not just because you're brushing your skin. So yeah, that's my first helper for the brain.
Nice. And
Yeah.
how often do you do this?
Well, I like to say, 3 times a week, but there was a point that I was doing it every morning, and I have to admit, I've never felt better. It's like one of those things that once you put it in the drawer, you forget about it, but if you keep it out, and again, this brush does not get wet, so this is not like a shower brush. This is something you do very quickly before the shower, or you can do it at night before bed. It's just as long as it's dry.
Okay.
So
All right.
pretty good.
That's
huh?
something I'm going to try. I
Yeah.
have not done
I
skin
know,
brushing.
and if you look it up, you'll love
have
it.
to
If
look
you
that
go
up,
down
yeah.
that rabbit hole, you'll be like, "Oh, I'm skin brushing for an hour a day."
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
awesome.
So
Beautiful.
talking about circulation, let me talk about the spine and how that connects to the brain health.
Yes,
and
the
circulation.
chiropractor talking about a spine.
Yeah.
What a great idea. Okay, go for it.
So the spine protects the nervous system, right? Which is basically an extension of the brain, right? So
Yeah.
the brain, tells the organs to heal, for it to function, for the communication. And so when you look at the way we're texting on the computers, sitting for a long period of time, our head tends to shift forward. And so when you have your head that's shifted forward, it actually causes the cervical curve in your neck to be diminished or to be lost. And the normal curvature is 45 degrees. And what I see in my practice is that the modern world, so the millennials, a lot of these younger aged patients that are coming through, they don't have a curve. And so what this is doing, it's causing, think of it as a hose, all right, a fire hose. You put the water on, the water comes spurting out, right? But if you put your foot on that hose, it kind of trickles.
Exactly.
It's not going at the force. So when you lose that curve in the neck, that's what you're doing to your brain, is you're reducing the nutrients going to the brain. So like the oxygen, the nutrients, vitamins, and stuff that cross the blood-brain barrier, which minerals.
Yeah, and younger
get
people
depleted.
complain all day long about brain fog and
Or even headaches, yeah. And
oh
so,
yeah, headaches so
oh my
common
goodness.
now.
So yeah,
so common.
you know, I just want to share a testimonial here with a patient, 22 years of age. Rosario came in, I think it was like 4 weeks ago, been on Topamax for 3 years. And Topamax, it's high drug out there that, you know, it gets rid of the headaches, but it never gets to the cause of the problem.
Yep.
And
With
so,
side effects, of course.
exactly, with side effects, which probably a laundry list of those. So, you know, we look at her her x-ray of the neck, complete loss of curvature. In fact, it was going in the opposite direction.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So not only was she suffering from headaches, but brain fog, where she was forgetting things at age 22.
That's horrible.
Horrible.
Oh.
Yeah. So we got her under regular chiropractic care and no longer forgetting things.
Wow.
Yeah. And that means a lot for her because she sits at a desk. She's a paralegal at a lawyer's office.
Okay.
And so her productivity at her work was very low.
Oh,
She
I'm
was
sure.
she was actually getting written up for things.
Okay.
And now she's like alert. She's more, you know, getting her task accomplished. And so
that's a great testimonial because that's like real, like what we need. We need to perform. We need to like work to make money. You know,
exactly. And without that, you know, you're not able to provide food for your family.
Yep.
And so we've been starting adjusting her spine, putting a curvature back in her neck. More nutrients are flowing through.
Is she
properly.
laying on that styrofoam?
She is
thing?
laying on the foam rolls and doing her cervical traction unit.
Oh, I'm so proud of her.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
awesome.
So
well, my son had the same issue, remember, maybe not as severe as hers,
Mhm.
but, you know, he complains about the brain fog all the time and, you know, but yet he's always hunched over on his social media devices. I'm not surprised that it's not lined up right.
Yeah.
You know?
So a tip that I have for everyone out there is when you're looking at your phone, just have a slight tilt to your head.
Okay.
You know, have your elbows at like an 80 to 90 degree angle,
Okay.
looking straight ahead. All right.
Okay.
I know this is hard for many people, and in fact, it's hard for myself. But you know, we weren't made to be looking at these devices daily,
Right.
every day, 24 hours a day.
It is. It's,
yeah.
It's
And that's
always.
what it's come down to. So all we can do is control that situation. So,
Okay.
you know, when you're laying down at bed, you know, just prop some pillows. Hopefully you're not using your phone in the bed, but, you know, just propping some pillows up to
Okay.
look at your phone. Or if you're
So
working.
so can you show me like I know if anyone's watching this on YouTube later, but if you're holding a phone, like are you holding it like where your head's tilted back and you're holding the phone up high?
You should have a nice like 15-degree tilt, like looking like this.
Okay.
Looking
I see,
straight
like
ahead.
this, like as if you were holding a piece of paper on
up.
a table up.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that would be a new habit. So we got
A new habit.
21 days. We got to practice this because I know that my body posture completely goes hard when I'm holding my device.
Mhm.
You know, it's really bad. So these younger people, you know, if they've just been trained since you know, we're giving these kids phones earlier and
Early, at age
that
of 2,
I know. I see
that.
them
Oh
in
my
Publix,
gosh.
you know, where the mom doesn't have to worry about
Yeah.
temper tantrums anymore, but I see these kids, they're hunched over,
yeah.
like these little balls, like with the devices 2 inches from their
Mhm.
noses. Yeah, it's a little scary. You must get really nervous when you see that
I
because you're in that field.
I do.
Yeah.
And so here's the thing is we have different, you know, symptoms that tell us, you know, our posture or our brain is not functioning well. And so these symptoms might appear as a health complication. So like asthma, even allergies, high blood pressure for the older individuals, neck pain, headaches, once
Right.
again. So if you have any of these things, that means your brain isn't getting nutrients it needs to. And overall, your brain health is a lot because it's the
Definitely.
main organ that controls everything.
Okay.
And for a lot of people that are in the seated position, what I do recommend is making sure that their eyes are in the center of their screen, of their monitor.
All
So,
right.
making sure your eyes land right in the center of that screen.
Okay.
And that will definitely help with the cervical curve in your neck, making sure it doesn't get any worse if it is lost. In
Okay,
fact.
so eyes in the center of the screen. All right, that is such great information. All right, so I have my little messy notes. It's so funny if anyone was in the studio with us. I have mine scribbled on my daughter's colored construction paper, like
Love
it's
it.
not even legible. And then Dr. Ravi has like a slide presentation with perfectly written notes. It's different personality types for sure. All right. Well, I have to admit that I stole a lot of my information from an amazing TED Talk. If my listeners haven't gone down the rabbit hole of TED Talks, you should check it
Love
out.
TED Talks.
TED Talks are just like addictive. It's like you just, YouTube will just roll you into the next and the next and the next. But I call it like Netflix for people that don't want to just like waste their life away. But so Dr. Caroline Leaf, she's been studying neuroscience for over 30 years. She had the talk Ridiculous on the TED Talk. And I just love her because she just is completely positive about anything to do with the brain. Doesn't matter if you got in a horrendous accident where they had you in a coma and kind of said you're going to be a vegetable for the rest of your life, or you're just a student that's struggling to get the grades to get into college. She uses science with the belief that everything is possible and proves it. And I love her. I absolutely love her. But she was saying that the brain does 400 billion actions a second. Now, I always say I'm a really good multitasker, but I think the brain's
The
a
brain
better one.
overpasses that.
Yeah, I mean, 400 billion.
Billion.
And then she also says that you do 4 to 7 things at every one moment. And what I loved her analogy that she does on all her talks is that about the trees, that your brain, so it was back, they used to say, just like when I learned about nutrition, a lot of the things I learned have been disproven. They're saying, not so much this anymore, not so much that. And I like the things they're learning now because it makes things better and more positive. So one of the things that they learned is that the brain can regenerate. It can fix itself with the right environment, the right habits, and the trees that we grow inside our brain. It has a fancy name that I'm sure you know, but I just like common sense that we have the ability to grow really beautiful, flourishing trees inside our brain, or ones that are weak and poor roots, and so just imagine in your brain these trees that need, fresh air, exercise, water, the right nutrients, and make it really be like common sense to you so you don't get overwhelmed. Like I'm trying to grow plants now at our new house, and it's like, oh, do I water enough or do I water a little, and what fertilizer do I give, and how much sunshine, and you got to be gentle when you move it in different areas of the house. And it's the same thing I feel like with us, like love your brain, put really good positive thoughts in it, lots of water. I can't say enough. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. We sometimes look for these miracle posts on Facebook to give us that cutting edge answer for $19.99 a month and 3 bottles free, but it's not there. Okay, it's in the basics. Getting enough sleep. Oh, and back to the water thing, people. Try not to do that morning guzzle and that afternoon after work guzzle and call that I did enough water. No, incremental amounts of high quality water all throughout your day, a steady, nice flow. And if you do drink other liquids other than water, I would say please choose super carefully. I had a real good customer who had the best intentions, said, don't worry, Joanne, I'm not drinking the colored liquids anymore. I'm doing the Powerade Zeros. Because the label looked like what he thought he should be taking in. No sugar. It said sugar-free and no color. but it's still all chemical, still all artificial with flame retardant in it, and just horrible. So, what you put in that liquid, that's going to help clean your body, wash your body, and nourish your brain with fluid. So, good quality water steadily throughout your day, okay? And, yes, Dr.
You know what
Ravi?
I always tell my patients?
What?
Half of their body weight in ounces.
Yes,
is
and
typically what we need.
Yeah, and one thing I have said that to my customers, I trick them. I'm not intentionally trying to trick them, but I've learned through the years that if I tell them that equation, which is what I used to, they get nervous and they don't do it.
Tell me what you do.
So this
I
is
can
what I do.
this.
I tell them to drink 6 ounces every hour they're awake.
Oh, okay.
And if you really do the math, for most, unless they're very obese,
yeah.
they usually get the right in.
6
Because I
hours for
found
every
that
time they're
some
awake.
so people that love water and drink water, we don't have a problem with them. They're
No.
drinking the right amount of water. It's the ones that just won't do it or don't like it that really aren't drinking any. So I figure if they're doing 6 ounces
that's not
every
too
hour
much.
they're awake, they'll never go over,
Yeah.
and they'll be at least way more than they were.
Would have.
So
yeah.
now everyone knows that it's a trick. So, but yeah, so 6 ounces every hour you're awake. It won't send you rushing to the bathroom. It won't be intimidating. I do believe there are people that don't like the taste of water. I have a hard time understanding that one since I feel like it has no taste. But you need to drink it. Just accept that fact and move on
Yep.
and get that glass
Create
of
that
water out.
habit.
Yeah. All right, so I know we have so much to cover, but I do want to cover one supplement that I talked about last week on the show and just kind of reiterate MCT oil. So MCT oil is derived from coconut, and it's a medium chain triglyceride. And even though I did a whole hour on it before, just please don't forget about this one, okay? So MCT oil is safe. It's effective. The brain loves it. It goes right to the energy of the brain, helps kill like yeast and pesky things that are trying to disturb your brain. So MCT oil, safe, convenient, bulletproof coffee, super famous. But you don't even have to use the butter if you don't want to. You can just do MCT oil in your coffee, give it a quick blend, or we use those gravy blender. We put it right in the coffee cup so you're not getting a blender dirty. And so MCT oil is definitely my first supplement that I would suggest for brain health.
Nice. And so I like using it as the frother.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
we
what
use
I
that.
use.
Yeah.
It's
Okay,
the
yeah,
frother.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I don't know what to call the stupid thing, but yeah.
Yeah. So can you so coconut oil and MCT oil,
Okay.
I've been having patients that have questions like, what's the
Yeah,
benefit
it is
of
a little confusing. So MCT oil is one of the carbon triglycerides that are from coconut oil. So there's carbon 8, carbon 12, and carbon 10. The 8 is the caprylic acid. That's the most famous one or most popular one. That's the one I consume. So my MCT oil is completely carbon 8. They say it's a very small size, and the caprylic acid itself helps attack virus cells, yeast cells. So not only does it go to the mitochondria, the center of the cell, and give us energy with less calories than other fat, but it also kills the bad guys that are trying to give us this brain fog and this horrible craving for sugar nonstop, and make us feel bloated and make our skin look rashy and horrible. So and those are all things I deal with every day. I love to go on that carbohydrate roller coaster. I just, I've been torturing my body with it for a long time. But the MCT oil in the coffee in the morning, it grounds me right away. It gives my brain such clean, beautiful energy where I feel like I can not only build a house, but I can save the world feeling. But nothing happens in the digestive system other than actually better bowel movements.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another win-win, because most of us are suffering from dry bowels or constipation. So the coconut oil, though, is still an amazing superfood. It's not to be left out of our diet. Coconut oil has great fuel for the brain, great nutrition source. Again, all those healthy
Good fat,
fats.
yeah.
Yeah, so again, it's a myth that saturated fat is bad for us in the right context. So coconut oil is a very healthy fat for our hormone level, our brain, our cells in general. I always say our body wouldn't be made out of all this healthy fat, and every cell membrane have a fat protective
Layer
layer
cushion.
around it if we didn't need
It's a
it.
good cushion.
Yeah, it's a great cushion. We want those cushions because if they get dry or sticky or damaged, then they
Cell
attract
death.
more of the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Disease.
so the coconut oil, I kind of stress to people that you can eat it off the spoon, you can put in your coffee, you can make lots of yummy, delicious recipes from it.
And for the ones that have a hard time, for my patients that have the lack of mental clarity, especially my older crowd, I recommend the capsules. They have the MCT capsules.
Yes. Now, I love the capsules. The only time that I've had an issue is that most of the studies that they might pop up for, like, say, Alzheimer's dementia, say 2 tablespoons a day.
And you're not getting that
I
in a
find that
capsule.
people won't swallow those larger soft gels in that quantity. But if someone, I don't care what they do, as long as they get it in them and they're consistent. So if a
Yes.
soft gel works for their lifestyle, go for it. But I just always say, make sure high quality, that they're not bleaching the coconut oil, they're not adding any other type of chemical stabilizers to the product, and then you're good to go.
Yeah. As us consumers, we actually drive the market for these health
Oh, yeah.
products, right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
so when it comes to the toxicity component, I'm always encouraging patients and people and our community members to read what they're putting in our body. Because, there's so many different coconut oil out there now.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you have Nabisco making their own, right? And people
yep.
think they're getting the right quality. And
know.
unfortunately,
I
it's
would
not.
always hope that they would wonder if they're getting this humongous jar of coconut oil for $3.99
Right?
versus a one in the health food store that's $14.99. I would hope their common sense would take over, but now they are using inferior quality coconuts. They are bleaching them. They're hydrogenating them. It goes on and on. So yes, you definitely want to do your research with anything you're going to put in your body or on
Yeah.
your skin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's funny that we talk about this when you talk about toxicity. I'm sure you have clients that come through your store and say, "Well, I'm already taking this," but when you dig deeper, you find out, they're taking something that is totally different in
Yeah.
retrospect to how it is formed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
My
what
favorite
I find too.
analogy is that you can buy 2 apples that are both called green apples. They both have a similar shape, but when you bite into them, it could be night and day,
Yes.
depending on where they're grown, how they were grown, and so that's the only way I can explain to people.
Mhm.
Just because a label says, this, it doesn't mean it will have the same action as the other.
Mhm.
And it's really important to know the quality, know who's manufacturing it, and it's like anything, especially for the brain. If you get something to pass through the blood-brain barrier, that's a task right there. Very few things are allowed through the brain.
Yeah.
So the things that we're going to cover can get through the brain. So you want to make sure you're giving your brain the highest quality if it's going to pass through those gates.
Yeah. Talking more about food because food is medicine.
Yeah.
It,
Kill
yeah.
you or heal you.
Exactly. So I'm a big fan for whole food eating, right? But unfortunately, with a busy lifestyle, we have to take some supplements and take
Yep.
things to help
That's
with
the
our
reality.
health. Yeah.
Yep.
And so when you talk about nutrition for health, for brain health, one big nutrition part that I recommend is magnesium.
Oh my God.
Do
Look,
you have magnesium? You
it's
want to
the
talk about
first
that?
one on my list.
Yes.
No, you talk about it. Go ahead.
So, what do you think about L-threonate?
yes, that's my favorite.
That's a perfect one for
It's
brain
my
health,
favorite.
right?
I do
Yes.
sell it,
Good.
and I love it. It's still very. A lot of people don't know about this one.
Mm-hmm.
It's cutting edge. It's amazing, and so I always say magnesium is responsible for 300 different functions. But I'll let you tell why this one is so special.
Yeah, so what I found to be more special is, definitely working with the neuronal synapses, it actually protects the receptors. So it protects the NDMA receptors of the cell for communication. So it basically acts as the gatekeeper. And so, there's different types of magnesium out there. And so when you're not getting the right type or you have toxicity to the brain, most oftentimes this receptor is being depleted and you need to regain those functions by putting in magnesium threonate.
Yes, and it's definitely a cutting edge supplement, but there is a couple things I want people to think about. So insurance typically works where they will just test nutrients that are high on their list. So, sometimes it's one nutrient at a time or two, unless you pay for the whole gamut done. So right now, magnesium is being tested in D3. That's the two most common, right?
Okay.
And what do they find most times is a deficiency. But I guarantee you, if the insurance started covering all our nutrient bases, because of the SAD diets, standard American diet, we would be deficient pretty much in everything. So the magnesium, one of its symptoms of deficiency is an overactive mind in the evening that you can't shut down to have a restful sleep. And I don't know about my listeners, but wow.
Anxiety.
It's So it's another word for being stressed out or anxious, where you just can't unplug. And I hear this all day long, Joanne, I can't sleep. Well, what's happening? Why can't you sleep? Is it pain? No, my brain, I can't shut off my brain. But yet, earlier in the day when they're trying to do their jobs, they can't get their brain to function properly. So this magnesium, one of its most important functions is stopping all that gibberish and helping it focus in a calming, balanced way. And who doesn't want that feeling?
Streamline that communication.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So that's so funny that we both had that on the top of the list. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to do the next one because I know you're going to have this one too. D3. Is that on your list?
It isn't.
All right. It isn't. Wow. Okay. So D3, commonly known as a vitamin. What it's not, guys. It's a prohormone. I call it a precursor hormone. And don't let the hormone name scare you. It is very safe and very effective. And just like magnesium has lots of jobs, but over 1,000. So magnesium has, and when I say the jobs, that's what we know now. But I guarantee in 5 years we'll know more. So as of now, magnesium is about 300 and so functions. D3 is 1,000. 1,000. And it's great to feed the brain, to detoxify the brain, to keep us in this perfect, beautiful homeostasis. They do say that we can get it from the sun, but we do have to be dependent on that we're not wearing any chemical sunscreens, that we are exposing enough skin, and our body is converting it. A lot of time the conversion with things, it's like the expression, it's not what you eat, it's what you absorb. It's the same thing with D3. You could be, on the beach all day, but it doesn't mean you're converting that D3. They show that Floridians are as deficient in D3 as any other areas, and that shows you that we get plenty of sun.
Yeah.
So,
Sunshine state.
So D3 is so economical, guys. As far as supplements go, it's probably the most economical. I mean, it's pennies a day. And there's like peppermint flavored, lemon flavored. I mean, the gummies that my kids eat, oh my gosh, they think it's candy. It's really clean and really yummy. Or you can just swallow a pill. But definitely you want to take that with a meal that contains fat. When you do nutrients that are based as a fat-soluble supplement, you do want to have it as a meal. So my suggestion, this is what I call a really healthy breakfast. So like a organic only. So do not buy eggs unless they're organic, okay? So now I am trying to stay away from all animal foods, but eggs and salmon are still in my life. So a hard-boiled egg, organic egg, some slices of avocado with some blueberries and some walnuts would be the best, most popular brain foods all on one plate. What a great way to start your day. And then, of course, some MCT oil and organic black coffee. Make sure it's organic, guys, and that it's, the coffee, like the Isogenics coffee I drink is mycotoxin free. Make sure your coffee is mycotoxin free. and with that MCT oil. And I am telling you, you just do that one change in your diet for 21 days and you will feel so much better.
Be sharp and pristine.
Yeah, like it's not a coincidence that all the healthy fats that are naturally occurring, the nuts, the salmon, the olives, show the best foods for brain health. But yeah, you put that together at least for breakfast.
For one meal. Yeah.
One meal.
Anyone can do that.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
Yes.
Oh boy. Oh, I just looked at the clock. I was ready to tell Cliff to do the mid break. It's already 10:50. No break, Cliff. No break. We're not taking any. We have too much more info.
Time flies by when you have fun.
You go next. Oh my gosh.
I want to talk about folate.
Oh,
because
cool.
with Alzheimer's on the rise, we're not getting enough folate, which is, a vitamin B, one of the complexes. And so what happens is when we have beta amyloid plaquing, which is basically plaquing or hardening of the arteries, the cell tissues of our brain, we start forgetting things. And so the best way to do this is by getting proper folate in our diet, right?
Definitely.
Or even making sure it's part of your multivitamin that you're on.
Yep.
Steer away from folic go more
acid,
for folate for that methylation process.
Again, about absorption.
That's what we want.
Yeah.
And some of the foods that I would recommend putting in our diet to get the folate would be our greens, so our spinach, artichoke, avocados. So in the morning, making part of that the breakfast that you were talking about.
You can put it on sprouted bread with a little Himalayan salt, and it's amazing.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes. Also beans, like pinto beans, black beans, and kidney beans are high in folate content.
Beautiful.
So it's easy to put these things into your diet to prevent, the beta amyloid plaquing.
Yeah, I know. Just the thought of that name, like
who
beta wants
amyloid,
that in the body,
No.
Ugh. But
Sounds
again,
like
all these
Frankenstein.
things are preventable, and again, it's been proven that 95 to 97% is our habits that are creating our health. So, it's only a couple % that's genealogy. So we need to take action and responsibility and not just wait until a blood test reveals something for us.
Yeah.
In little steps. We don't have to be perfect. Little steps.
That's what it's all about.
Awesome.
The last one.
Okay.
I think you're going to talk about it.
Okay.
I know coconut oil is part of it.
All right.
Right? But are you going to talk about any type of like DHA?
You know what?
EPAs?
Are you stealing my glory here? All right. So you want me to talk about
Go
that
ahead.
one? Because
Yes.
it's one of my favorites.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Very
so
important.
I have to give a shout out to Garden of Life. It
Yes.
just came out with 3 weeks ago, and of course I sell it. Is CBD oil of highest quality with DHA. It's actually really affordable. It's in the $30 range. But DHA is a component that most of us are familiar with if we have families for breast milk or infant formula. They found that when other countries all had DHA in their infant formula and ours didn't, they saw a huge decline in our children's cognitive function. They added the DHA into their diets, and all of a sudden cognitive function went up. So again, we had to learn from other countries, like what's missing. But if you look at human breast milk, when the baby's brain is developing, it's tons of these healthy fats, tons. Like I remember when I used to have to pump for my breast milk, I couldn't wait. Like it was like you had to go a certain amount of time, and then you get that rich fat part, and that is like where all the magic is. So it's critical that we don't stop treating ourselves like that infant that's, starving for all this great nutrition. We still are as adults. We still need all that nutrients. So DHA is commonly found in wild fish. And I have this product, Dr. Ravi. It's called Omega Swirls. So if anyone out there is
Swirls,
like, gross fish oil, I don't want to take it, I burp it, I taste it all day long, the Omega Swirls are natural. There's no artificial sweeteners or flavoring, and they're 9 times more absorbable than taking a regular soft gel, and they taste delicious, great for kids or if you're just squeamish about healthy fats. But DHA, critical for brain health, making up the brain. Ooh, 4 minutes left. Okay.
Yes.
Do you want to go over? Did you
Exercising?
Oh yes.
Once again, oxygen.
Yeah,
And
go over that one. I'm really bad at that.
Anyone, and maybe it's a little self-reminder for everyone out there, but exercise is very important. Getting up and moving, getting that lymphatic system, going. Our brain has its own lymphatic system, and so when you have that proper posture, when you have that proper food that you're putting in your diet, your nutrition, your supplements, the next part is making sure you're exercising. And everyone has 6 minutes.
I know,
3 minutes.
Right?
Yeah.
I know.
And Mercola has some great information on high intensity interval training, and that's the type of exercise I recommend doing. You can do this right at your desk at work, standing up and running in place for 30 seconds, resting for 30 seconds.
Take your high heels off, girls.
Or even doing like jumping jacks or squats for 30 seconds and then resting for another 30 seconds.
When you say it, it just sounds so easy. And now I have a stand-up desk at work, so I never sit down. Matt's bought me one of these newfangled watches that tell me to breathe and stand and walk.
Nice, love it.
It's like, and we compete every day who has more steps. And even though all these things, a lot of people are not doing these little tiny things. So I just stress that I promise you they will make a difference.
You can change your brain health. You can.
Yes, you can change your brain health. So don't be stuck in this world of these meds and this sedentary lifestyle. Get up, breathe, think positive, move, and it doesn't matter if you move 1 second or you move 3 hours. Just move. And oh my gosh, but I do need to talk about the gut. Please, people, remember your gut, your intestinal tract, your stomach, call everything below the belly button, is your second brain. And they have proved conclusively that how you treat your gut health is like how you treat your brain. Just like they say you can look in the oral health of your mouth to see the health of your heart. It's the same connection, okay? So good probiotics. I take digestive enzymes with my probiotics. We eat so much processed cooked foods that our body are overwhelmed with saying, hey, I don't know what to do with all this processed junk. So probiotics, bringing your microbiome into balance, a big fancy word for good bacteria. So it's about balance. You can have a little bad, but you have to have a lot of good to make sure the bad doesn't take control. So things like yeast, things like
sugar.
Like, oh my gosh, I call it, it's the monster, the sugar monster. He wants to be fed. You're going to think he runs your life, but he doesn't. You can take power over this because that processed carbs, those chemicalized food, that negative self-talk, that all that junk, I am telling you, suppresses you to not be your healthiest version of yourself.
Your true version, yep.
Yep. Well, we have in 1 minute closing, Dr. Ravi. Go for it.
Thanks for having me on the show to talk about brain health. And,
thank
once again,
you.
like you said, everyone can change it.
Awesome. And keep learning, keep listening, and try new things. If what's working for you isn't working, try new
something
things.
different.
Think outside the box, all right? Everyone, have an amazing week and happy Memorial Day. And
be safe.
Be safe. All right. Thanks. Thank you, Cliff.
All right. Joanne Seeger and Dr. Ravi. Joanne's World of Nutrition. Another one going up to YouTube later on. This show has been brought to you by Nutrition World, US 1 between Avenue A and Orange Avenue across from City Hall in the historic Arcade Building. And this is WPSL Port St. Lucie. WPSL.com on Google and Alexa. Celebrating 25 years and counting.
This is CBS News on the Hour. Real news, real reporting.
I'm Steve Kathan.
This is the first time I ever seen something like this.
They can't believe their eyes in Jefferson City, Missouri. There's widespread destruction after a powerhouse tornado blasted through last night. Missouri Governor Mike Parson.
The damage is just devastating up here, and we're days to come to get all this fixed.
19 people needed treatment for injuries. KMOV TV reporter Justin Andrews.
A lot of people were actually trapped in their basements. Obviously, when we cover this, when we hit the air, we tell people to get at the lowest level of their homes. A lot of people here we're hearing actually did that. But once the storm came, they were trapped down there. So the fire department, police department had to come in.
There's damage in other parts of Missouri, too. At least 3 deaths are reported in the southwest part of the state. Secretary of State Pompeo calls it unexplainable and unconscionable. The release this morning of the American Taliban, John Walker Lind, from a federal prison in Indiana. He served 17 years of a 20-year sentence. Lind from California fought with the Taliban after 9/11.